In art, it's always the little things. Take the School of Athens by the Italian High Renaissance master Raphael, whose death 500 years ago in 1520 is currently being commemorated around the world by major exhibitions and displays from Milan to London, Berlin to Washington, D.C. Millions of eyes have marveled at the eternal gathering of ancient philosophers and mathematicians, statesmen, and astronomers that Raphael luminously imagines in his famous fresco. Yet it would seem that a small detail near the center foreground of the painting, from which the true meaning of the masterpiece arguably spills, has gone almost completely unnoticed by historians and critics for half a millennium. Look closely, and there beside the left arm of the melancholic writer, who sits near the middle of the painting, a simple ink pot teeters precariously on the corner of a large marble block, an elbow which away from falling, shattering, and opening a black hole at the heart of Raphael's work. That unassuming object, and it alone, transforms Raphael's fresco from being a two-dimensional tribute to rational thought into a far deeper and more mercurial meditation on the mysteries of existence. To understand how that object functions symbolically, we must remind ourselves why Raphael undertook the fresco in the first place, where it sits in the Vatican's lavish labyrinth of corridors and chambers, and what, on its face, the painting purports to portray. The School of Athens is a fresco by the Italian Renaissance artist Raphael. It was painted between 1509 and 1511 as a part of Raphael's commission to decorate the rooms now known as the Stanze di Raffaello in the Apostolic Palace in the Vatican. The Stanza della Segnatura was the first of the rooms to be decorated, and the School of Athens, representing philosophy, was probably the third painting to be finished there, after theology on the opposite wall, and the literature. The painting is notable for its accurate perspective projection, which Raphael learned from Leonardo da Vinci. This work has long been seen as Raphael's masterpiece, and the perfect embodiment of the classical spirit of the Renaissance. The School of Athens is one of a group of 4 main frescoes on the walls of the stanza that depict distinct branches of knowledge. Commentators have suggested that nearly every great ancient Greek philosopher can be found in the painting, but determining which are depicted is difficult, since Raphael made no designations outside possible likenesses, and no contemporary documents explain the painting. Compounding the problem, Raphael had to invent a system of iconography to allude to various figures for whom there were no traditional visual types. For example, while the Socrates figure is immediately recognizable from classical busts, the alleged Epicurus is far removed from his standard type. Aside from the identities of the figures depicted, many aspects of the fresco have been variously interpreted, but few such interpretations are unanimously accepted among scholars. Aristotle, with his 4 elements theory, held that all change on earth was owing to motions of the heavens. In the painting, Aristotle carries his ethics, which he denied could be reduced to a mathematical science. It is not certain how much the young Raphael knew of ancient philosophy, what guidance he might have had from people such as Bramante, and whether a detailed program was dictated by his sponsor, Pope Julius II. Nevertheless, the fresco has even recently been interpreted as an exhortation to philosophy, and, in a deeper way, as a visual representation of the role of love in elevating people toward upper knowledge, largely in consonance with contemporary theories of Marsilio Ficino and other Neoplatonic thinkers linked to Raphael. Finally, according to Giorgio Vasari, the scene includes Raphael himself, the Duke of Mantua, Zoroaster, and some evangelists. The identities of some of the philosophers in the picture, such as Plato and Aristotle, are certain. Beyond that, identifications of Raphael's figures have always been hypothetical. To complicate matters, beginning from Vasari's efforts, some have received multiple identifications, not only as ancients, but also as figures contemporary with Raphael. Vasari mentions portraits of the young Federico II Gonzaga, Duke of Mantua, leaning over Bramante, with his hands raised near the bottom right, and Raphael himself. In the center of the fresco, at its architecture's central vanishing point, are the 2 undisputed main subjects, Plato on the left and Aristotle, his student, on the right. Plato holds Timaeus and Aristotle holds his Nicomachean Ethics. Plato is depicted as old, gray, and barefoot. By contrast, Aristotle, slightly ahead of him, is in mature manhood, wearing sandals and gold-trimmed robes, and the youth about them seem to look his way. In addition, these two central figures gesture along different dimensions, Plato vertically, upward along the picture plane, into the vault above, Aristotle on the horizontal plane at right angles to the picture plane, initiating a flow of space toward viewers. It is popularly thought that their gestures indicate central aspects of their philosophies, for Plato, his theory of forms, and for Aristotle, an emphasis on concrete particulars. Many interpret the painting to show a divergence of the two philosophical schools. Plato argues a sense of timelessness whilst Aristotle looks into the physicality of life and the present realm.